Trader.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Happy Monday. TGIM. Can you say that? I don't know. I got my good luck beer drinking fishing hat on here today from downtown Munchin. I don't know whether it shows on the camera or not, but this was one of my favorite souvenirs from my European trip a few years ago doing the TRI circuit. And actually, a good part about it is we're finally through the crappy part of the market, so we should start everybody should start talking Lambos again over the next couple of years. You saw what happened to that loom. I think everybody was expecting Bitcoin to do that first thing this morning. Hey, we're all going to the bed. Up. Wait a minute. Wait, stop. Okay. Oh, goodness. But anyway, good to see we've got a somewhat friendly market back here. We are, I suppose, expecting some sort of market bottom here through October into early November. I wouldn't be surprised if there's one more sort of FU move to the downside in the broader risk markets, probably into that late October eclipse. This is the eclipse season. Cole did such a great broadcast last week talking about celestial cycles. I always love listening to him. So smart. And I suppose we should get some of our other celestial people on the call too. That would be kind of fun. Anyway, so it's Monday, TGIM. Lots of craziness in the market, including, which kind of sucks for crypto kids, but a little bit of a. Do you think this was an accident? I mean, honestly, these. Just like I said, this has the 1% written all over it. Think of name rhymes with dink. I'm not going to say the name because you're probably going to get sued in this stupid world. But dink is probably a really good way to say this. Is now a good time to short Bitcoin? No. The time to short Bitcoin was when it rallied up into that reload zone there. That was a sick trade level. And it was kind of interesting. I don't really want to name names. And if anything, I'm sort of the public voice of TRI. We don't really need to get anybody else's sort of neck in the noose here, proverbially, with all my public broadcasts. So I'm just going to call him my trading partner. But he and I were busy in the crude oil pits this morning. I actually had a pretty productive day, so I feel pretty positive about that. And he actually noticed this. He was like, "Oh wow, they rallied it right into the reload zone," and then it just puked right out. So, kind of this has got just like typical CME trader, FU kind of, hey, let's get the kids all jazzed, come up with some silly news that we can always take back in a heartbeat and just say, oh, that was an accident, right? Well, it was caveat emptor and all that bullshit. So anyway, so I definitely don't think shorting here is a good idea. And if anything, actually, it was kind of funny. And it's a good sign that our community knows the message. And actually, I think, I don't know whether I said it in the broiler chicken show yesterday, but I should be saying basically the same things day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. I mean, nothing really changes with regard to all of this technical analysis stuff. It's not like, next week we're going to formulate a brand new way to approach all this. Ironically enough, it's probably been exactly the same since, one of the concepts we teach in our education program, actually, this type of charting here is called Japanese candlesticks. They used to trade rice. They used to call them kukus, which was the amount of rice it takes to feed one man for one full year. But that used to be a very tradable product back in like 15th, 16th century. So, not much has changed with all of this. So, if anything, you should be hearing the same message all and over and over and over. And actually, I was pretty impressed. In our lounge here, we have such a great lounge. This place is so awesome. You can see people right here were kind of like, hey, this is all BS. Be careful. But this was a perfect image posted by our blog guru and our marketing maven, blog guru and marketing maven. There you go. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. I think he's absolutely right. And if anything, what they've done now here with this price action is they basically established a trading range now here where they could be, the sad thing is, right, there were people that actually bought through this. And, you've often heard me talk about trapped bulls and trapped bears. So, there's a ton of trapped bulls in that wick. And any kind of rally up top here, they're going to want to get released. So, it should be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, if we just roll over and start crapping out here, that will actually act as a major sort of supply zone going forward, where any kind of rallies into this wick, the people that strapped on the position in FOMO, panic buying, all that kind of crap, they're just going to be like, get me the hell out of here now, now, now. Ah! Anyway, so Monday morning, like to try and be the demonstrator of best practices, although it ain't easy doing what I do here, and kind of set myself up for failure in a weird sort of way, actually even being like a public voice here. I tell you, it's a hell of a lot easier doing this if I just shut everybody off. I don't go into chat rooms and I just sort of do my own thing. But for some stupid reason, I've got this big fat mouth of mine that just needs to blab. Blah! Anyway, all right, let's see if we can give you some that's some value here today. So I always suggest this, and TBG, I know you're watching this. Are you on the call here with us? Usually he is. TBG is actually sitting in. I'm seriously considering. In fact, I even found a few properties I have to give to TBG for him to go look at down there in El Salvador. But I'm seriously thinking about maybe just picking up and, Liam is 23 years old. So, I mean, it's not like he's a baby anymore. But anyway, El Salvador is looking awfully interesting. So, anyway, demonstrator best practices. First thing we do, got to check, make sure your computer's working. That's always a good idea. Then we got to, check in with how's your diet going? Did you even eat breakfast? When I don't eat breakfast, oh man, I sometimes get headaches. And I'm in terrible moods, and it doesn't make for good trading. So got to make sure you're getting proper diet. Of course, exercise is always good. I could use a bit more of that. Sleep. Yeah, last night I had a really tough night. I'm having really tough nights lately. I don't know why, but I was actually surprised. I literally rolled over, looked at the clock. It was 4:45. Of course, I'm supposed to get up for 5 a.m. So I was like, all right, well, let's get to work. And actually, I think I even beat Chris up this morning. I was saying good morning to him and didn't hear anything back. So anyway, doesn't matter. Everything worked out in the end. So, not a bad idea. Check in what the hell's going on in the world, especially on a Monday morning. Interesting to see. Japan got absolutely walloped overnight. So that was a bit of a surprise. And you can see China and Asia on balance didn't really fare too well. Europe seemed to be relatively up on the day. And of course, the Americans, the futures were pointing higher first thing this morning. I'm not actually exactly sure what it was that kicked the wind out of Japan overnight, but usually what ends up happening is Japanese. And for the longest time in my career, Japan was the world's second largest economy. And they sort of set the tone for the day. So anyway, so first thing this morning, German wholesale prices dropped the most in over 3 years. So that should be deflationary. Be really interesting to see whether Germany actually sort of dissolves into economic depression. You listen to people like that Peter Zahn guy. He said that Germany's screwed here. And a lot of German sort of economic output is chemical related, which of course is directly tied to the supply of natural gas that they can get on a regular basis, which of course has been obviously challenged over the past couple of years by Russia. So it'll be interesting to watch the economic engine of Europe. If anything, hate to say it, but this is the greed cycle. This is everything that I teach you all in the education program, which is U.S. Economy, probably North American economy, bullish. Not so much commodity nations. Interesting to see Mexico is basically stealing a lot of the Asian manufacturing, which I think is going to make Mexico quite a powerhouse here going forward. And, for the longest time, especially back in the last century, we used to always kick around the idea of the Amero, which is basically the Canadian dollar, US dollar, and Mexican peso all merging into one currency unit. And to be honest with you, considering, Great Reset, Klaus fucking dickhead kind of stuff, and then, the absolute train wreck of all this current debt situation, 1865, as a historical comparison, that was another one of these, monetary cycle resets. And then 1945 was 2025. Hopefully, you can see the historical comparison. But 1865 is a great example. Canada itself as a country was brought into existence. Why? Because all of the provinces at that point were all technically bankrupt and their paper was worthless. So they had no money at all. Then this thing called Canada Confederation was put together. And one of the deals of Confederation, hey, sell us your soul and we will take over your bad debt. All the provinces got all their debt relieved. And then it was all transferred to this new confederation. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's coming down the pike here for us, everybody. And if you do live in North America, you saw the Europeans, they did it with this euro currency unit thing. And there's a lot of debate whether that thing's going to survive, but we'll see how that goes. But I wouldn't be surprised if that Great Reset stuff is actually something about this Amero finally coming into existence. So anyway, only time will tell. Getting back to here on the short term. Bonds up a bit, yields, bond yields up a bit, prices down a bit. That should be actually a relatively positive thing. You just don't want it to get like out of control. Is that on sort of increased energy prices and concerns about crude oil going crazy? I'll tell you, crude's got a pretty big double bottom working, and things like Feigenbaums and stuff are actually projecting much higher prices, which of course nobody really wants to hear, especially your gas tank. Interesting euro area. At least they're showing a bit of a surplus now, so it won't be an absolute disaster there. Interesting to see India really outperforming economically, and interesting to see that their inflation, for the longest time, India had just an absolutely horrific inflation problem. And the currency just was just a disaster. So it's fascinating to see India sort of progressing here. But at the same time, too, and no offense to all Indian people, but wow, as a sort of a segment of our human population, these people are incredibly arrogant. And wow, when they get full of themselves, look out. I mean, it's to the point where they'll come on and just punch you right in the nose. And I don't know. I got a funny feeling we're going to be hearing more out of India and stuff. I mean, hell, India basically told my country to go fuck off there the other day, and they don't have any qualms about it. They don't like you, go fuck yourself. It's as simple as that. Get your diplomats, get the fuck out of our country. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see how India develops here. Good old China. I think China now, unfortunately, the demographic situation has rolled over. The sort of Fakezi of the communist CCP, uh, joke of a Ponzi, I guess is the best way to call it. I think that sort of that bubble is burst. So it'd be interesting also. Like we're probably going to see a power shift between India has gone the up and China's on the down. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. And from what I understand, things are pretty tense there in the Middle East. So obviously, people are worried about the conflict spreading and getting worse. Um, I can't see how higher oil prices hurt a country like Russia. I think they're loving this, and Iran, of course, I think they're loving it too. Um, all really at the expense of some a pocket of a couple million people that live in the southwestern portion of Israel. Bizarre world we live in, that's for sure. So anyway, that's your backdrop to sort of start your day. Kind of a mess. Econs today. Mondays usually they don't really do a lot of econs. So as you can see coming out of the gate, econ's pretty light. We had New York Empire State Manufacturing Index actually came in pretty negative. So if you're kind of thinking what's good for Wall Street is not so good for Main Street and vice versa, I think this is a good example of I don't know whether I actually have it on here. Yeah, I guess interesting. I thought I had taken screenshots of that. But long and short of it here, I suppose I can show you the news here in real time. Where is our news? News. Boosh. I probably have it on a different tab, but I suppose I can do this. Empire State Index actually came in pretty ugly. So it came in minus 4.6. Market was looking for minus 1. So that's like 3 or 4 times worse than expected. It's interesting how consensus though had -7. So I'm not quite sure how to interpret that. It's almost like, yeah, it's ugly. It's worse than what people were forecasting, but it's not as bad as what I guess they were panic thinking here. And this would be sort of like the obviously New York City, the state of New York, probably well, maybe not so close to, well, maybe close to Chris. He's in New Jersey, I think. So it's sort of that area. Although I suppose it's a bit of an insult to people in New Jersey to say you are a New Yorker. But anyway, what do we see here? You can kind of see we're building a coil. So something's building here. I don't think we're getting any definitive messages out of the market. Believe it or not, actually, I think this is going to resolve to the upside, but only time will tell. But that's about it for econs. Had Fed speakers. In fact, actually, this guy's speaking a couple times today. Guess he's got a pretty busy day. And you can see, I don't know if the Central Bank of Australia is that important in this world, but you can see we've got some information coming out of them later on this evening, but that's not going to affect today's trade. So pretty light day news wise, and of course, Fed speaker sneezes, and the market can launch one direction or another. Suppose we're getting into earnings season, so we should probably keep an eye on that, see if there are any big surprises. But I did see, obviously, and actually, I would argue that to a certain degree, Bitcoin is a leading indicator. I think there's a lot of correlation between something like crypto and Bitcoin. You can see BTC futures up, Ethereum futures up even nicely, and the stock market, especially like the tech stocks. You can see Nasdaq up a good 1% on the day. Got a bit of a double bottom working there, so we don't have that crazy ass spike because 1% is trying to screw over the public and the poor little crypto kids, get them all FOMOing. But nonetheless, double bottoms, prices working higher. The only problem here is, of course, you can see we got this big fat M staring us in the face, and that's sort of the same situation in Bitcoin. We've been talking about this weekly chart for a while. We had a little bit of this is the weekly chart. If we go down to the daily chart, of course, there's that big FU move. Oh my goodness. And not to toot our own horns, but I gotta toot our own horn. Look at that damn algo signal. God damn sons of bitches. Who the hell built this algo thing? It's just the bee's knees. I got to show you this signal because I mean it's just perfect. And if anything, this is would really like to try and bring this to the world's attention. That this algo is just awesome. So there was the signal over the weekend. I don't like to talk about these signals in real time, but there was the buy setup there, and of course, good old Swords now actually has this completely automated. So we're sort of starting it out with just a couple grand, just to run it a year or so, just to see what the actual numbers are. But geez, the proof of the pudding's in the eating. Eh? I mean, look at that beautiful move. Now, do you take profits on that kind of event? Into that? I don't know. I mean, if you were actively trading this, we just have the computer just basically buying and selling, which is totally awesome because you can see here's the sale, here's the buy, and woohoo, nice move. So we're catching both sides of these moves. But I don't know where the next sell signal comes in. It might even just be a scratch trade. I don't know. I think probably the most important thing about the algo that I'm seeing right now is it just has you positioned correctly. So if you see that the algo is pointing up, probably a good idea just not to be too aggressively bearish. You might just get your head handed to you. So I definitely like that. Yeah, geez, time goes so damn quick, eh? I suppose maybe tell you a little bit about my sort of current trading plan. This is the opening range trade in crude oil. It was very kind to us today, doing like multiple micros right now. Instead of just sort of like one big boy, I'll do a whole bunch of micros and then spoon feed as the market's working its way in our direction. So, very profitable day. And really, I'd said originally with this broadcast, what I really want to do is be the demonstrator of best practices. You want to learn how to day trade. We were going to run that boot camp and sort of set people up for, do you want to be a day trader? Do you, I mean, hey, and it's actually interesting. I was chatting with my trading partner before we got this going. We're kind of like, I mean, this is a full-time job. Don't get me wrong. This is it's a lot of work. And actually, one guy that I used to work with, Ray Burchett, he used to always say that's the one thing most people that come to day trading and prop trading firms like that, they just don't realize how much hard work this is. So anyway, as you can see, was on the ball. There was the Empire State. I was wondering where the hell I made reference to that. And getting everything ready. You can see opening range trade took that. That's my sort of trade for the day. Just sort of starting your day. This is what it looks like. And, you got to step in there and pull the trigger. In fact, actually, for a good probably 10, 20 minutes, this is a tick chart. 10, 20 minutes of this trade. We didn't know which way this was going to go. It's just, just running your business of trading. So actually, what did I just close? Anyway, things worked pretty well here. As I said, by the time we get around to heading into the European close, kind of wind my day trade up. So strapped on 5, let 2 go at a nice profit, let another 2 go at another profit, and I've got 1 runner on. And just the question is, can I close out that runner at the lows of the day into the pit close? That's the ideal scenario with a day trading setup. And frankly speaking, I've got my stop. You can see sitting at scratch on the runner. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. You can see it went up, it came back down, it went up. I don't know. You just don't know in this game. But I got my stop sitting up here. And if I get stopped out on the last final contract at scratch, well, so be it. Come back and play the game again tomorrow. So hopefully that's a good demonstration of what a day trader's life looks like. Talked a little bit about Bitcoin. Obviously, I think that this was all intentional, and I even put out a tweet to that effect. Cointelegraph. I mean, I don't think Cointelegraph is at fault, but I definitely think actually this is not the page I want. What page do I want? Where do I have all that YouTube? It's around here somewhere. Nope, I was just on that one. Anyway, I put a tweet out to the effect, don't kid yourself. I mean, this is capitalism. Capitalism is sometimes just bloody evil. And I think that this was actually quite intentional. Um, and actually, I think that's how I started off the broadcast. So don't kid yourself here, folks. It sucks. But these poor people, they were probably taken advantage of. Somebody, this guy here, we all know his name, right? Rhymes with Dink. Um, would he be beyond doing something like this? Joey Diamond, would he be beyond doing something like this? Come on. I mean, when it comes to money, these people are absolutely unscrupulous. So, that's kind of environment that we're in. As I said, I hope that's not the end of the move. I would love to see this thing continue. But, all of our comments over the weekend were this is an absolute brick wall of resistance, all these moving averages. The fact that they were able to actually spike it all the way up into these wicks. Here's a good example of a whole bunch of trap bulls in this wick were given release here first thing this morning. Lucky them. And of course, if you were a badass trader and you liked hunting reload zones, you got an incredible short there. I wouldn't really call this a bull, and this is what I'd said yesterday in the broiler chicken show, and what I constantly say to you guys. I wouldn't really consider this a buy until I can actually get a W to come in on the other side of this trend line, especially this little one here. I mean, it's great to see that they broke this market structure top because this was looking really nasty here. So can we get nice W to form here? And then that will sort of set the base for a nice big bull run. That'll be cool. If anything, it's encouraging to see that they were able to go and smash this M top. What I was worried about, and I talked to you guys yesterday, was 1, 2, if you get a third test of the megaphone high and this fails, then that sets up this trade here. I was kind of hoping that we would go down first, put in a bottom against this megaphone low, and then set the base for a huge rally. But 1, 2, 3. I mean, this is in place now, kind of like what I showed you. This guy here, wicks and tails like to be eaten. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually spend a little while I don't know what the hell this is going to look like, but maybe something along the lines of something like that. So the fact that they took it up into this megaphone top line here and it was violently rejected away from there, that unfortunately does imply to me like 3 tests of the top of the megaphone. So anyway, it's Brian's 2 cents. That's about what it's worth. I think current bid's about 0.000001 on the pink sheets. Anyway, that's an old broker joke. I guess nowadays nobody even knows what the hell the pink sheets are. So go slowly. What sucks is I think people got sucked into this is the new paradigm. This is it. We're all going to the moon. And I think that was a trap. I love the fact that the algo told you to go long down in here. So if you're an algo trader, fucking A. But I was repeatedly saying in the lounge here this morning, for God's sakes, you cannot buy that. This is, if anything, if there was a message to finish this broadcast on today, this is exactly why you cannot chase. Because if you chase and you get all emotionally charged and you're like, well, I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, I know it's up, but it's probably going to go up a hell of a lot more. You're going to get your head handed to you. And that's exactly what that image is, which is kind of tragic. But anyway, slow and steady wins the race. We'll head on over and have fun in the after party. It is Monday, so we'll do sort of follow up from yesterday's Q&A if there is any to be done. Maybe pop in the dashboard and see what it's sort of suggesting that we should be thinking. as a nice simple overview. And I'd actually be curious to see whether we're starting to get interesting. Look how crypto actually is now oversold on the medium term basis. So that's kind of interesting. It did turn back up there. Actually, I'd be curious to see what it. Oh, look at that! Look how close we got to it. Ooh, look at that! Jesus. So you can see crypto got really close to flashing that sort of the sky is falling signal. Whenever you get the sky is falling signal, that almost always sets up just an absolutely incredible trade. So I guess it shouldn't surprise us that Bitcoin did have a nice rally there, but nonetheless, slow and steady wins a race. We'll dig into this a little bit more in the after party. Love to have you come and join us if you're watching the free YouTube content. Slow and steady wins a race. I was a profitable day trader today in crude oil land, and actually, I even still have a one on the books. And I don't know, just to show, let's see what that is looking like right now. So I'm up $60 on my final runner. You can see there I am short. There is the runner stop at scratch. And let's see where the hell this thing goes. This contract, actually, I'm above $400 or $500 here on this combine. So I'm just marching right along. I think the sort of you win level is I have to be up 3Gs. So I can't complain. If I'm a profitable trader, I actually spent a lot of time over there at Top Step just a scratch trader, slightly profitable. And they were like, well, that's fine. Just don't lose money. So frankly speaking, that's fine by me. I'm totally happy with that kind of performance. So anyway, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. We'll chat a little bit more in the after party. If you are interested, pop on over. And we'll, I don't know, see if we can find some value out of my butt that I can give you guys. All right. That was kind of a weird statement, but all right. Brian's kind of a weirdo anyway. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Remember what your number one job is. Actually, interesting. Somebody posted, what is that? The Rational Investor? Who's logged in as that? Anyway, they posted the website. That's interesting. All right. So where were we? Remember what your number one job is. Don't take no wooden nickels. All the best. PMA for the win. And bye for now.